So we've just seen the markets close only 3 minutes ago at the time of filming. We're going to have a look at why today was such a crucial day and why we actually did win quite hard today. Now, of course, as usual, this is my view. If you disagree, that's fine. But what I'm trying to say is today was a significant day. And I know that that may seem a little bit asinine to some people. Some people may not see it as that, but I think it was. Because what we're looking at today is a day where we are up by about 2%. That's about 30 cents at the end of day. Now, that isn't a big gain. We've seen bigger than that in the past 5 days for sure. Especially when we look at to the past 2 or 3 days that we had when we were trading. We saw big gains. But why today is even more important in my opinion is this. We're going to come over here and we're going to have a look at how the markets did. We're going to come over to the United States markets if we can. And we're going to see the generalized picture for these. So whilst it loads up, we can see the generalized image. Main things to be focused on: Dow, S&P, Nasdaq. And what we're seeing for all of these is red. Dow down by about 0.5, and of course that moves the least in general, whether it's up or down, because it has less companies and the companies on it are more stable, so we wouldn't expect that to move by too much. S&P down by 1.15. Again, constituent of 500 companies, it does move quite a bit, and that is a decent move to the downside. The Nasdaq, again, similar story where we're seeing this one drop by 2.26, another big drop for the Nasdaq. Now, what I'm trying to say, just to summarise it all, markets moving down by a decent amount today, as this is not a good thing to see, especially considering what we've been seeing since about February, where the markets have really just seen consecutive downtrends. Now, tying this back into AMC, especially into the past 5 days, 6th of July up until about the 10th, 11th, let's say, if we were trading back then, what we saw a big rise. But what we also saw is a lot of the major indices on the United States markets moving up. Now we're having a day where the markets are moving down by quite a decent amount, and AMC's price continues to move up. I think that is a sign of things to come. I think that is a sign of what I spoke about a couple of episodes ago, where I said AMC's price has been run down so hard, there's not really much that they can do now to depress apes anymore, because we know where the highs were. We've all held to 72. We've seen it come down. We've seen the lows in about the range of 998 or something like that. So we've seen both ends of the spectrum, and neither scares us. And there's not really much room to play with to bring this one down much more. The worst case scenario that we could see now, in my opinion, and that's to go back off historical data, the worst drop that we could see is a $5-6 drop from where we are now. I don't think that would scare anybody at this point. So I think we're in a great place. Now, technically, when we come out to the chart, a few things are going to become obvious to those of you who have been watching the share price throughout the day. Tough morning, we started to fall all the way through it after seeing a little bit of a spike, and then again continuous falls, hitting lows in this midday period of around 1468, and then coming back strong. Now I'm going to be focusing on this section from here because I think this is the main part that we need to look at. So, highs of the day about 1495, maybe 1496 if we look at this wick over here. So 1495, again, we were pretty stable, definitely safe to call that a high for the day. Or at least for the later part that we are going to be looking at. Now the lows, if we look at the candlestick itself, we're looking at 1486. Below that we're looking for 1482. So we want to see this level of 1486 realistically hold up as a support. It has done here. We didn't even come that low in this bounce, and of course we did see it hold up here again. So worst case scenario going into tomorrow, we want to see that. And I think the obvious point that we are all anticipating now, being as we're just so close, is going to be a break above 15. Again, a couple of cents away right now. It could happen in the post market, who knows. Not exactly hard to do in my opinion. But again, if it doesn't happen in the post hours, I wouldn't really be too worried, because as I always mention, pre-market, post-market, very interesting to look at. Oftentimes, especially in pre-market, we do get our hopes up, but we need to think about it. The pre-market session is a point where a lot of apes don't have access to trade. The same is true for the post-market. So I wouldn't really read too much into this, but I think it's possible, with a 5 cent gain from where we are now, The range of 15 could be broken in the post hours. I do believe that $15 was broken in the pre-market hours this morning, but again, we didn't manage to sustain that throughout the actual trading day. But yeah, tomorrow, in my opinion, if we get lucky, is going to be the fight for 15. Beyond that, who knows where we will go. Perhaps we'll look at this in the morning and assess the price action that we could be seeing throughout the day based on the technicals and the data that we see being released in the pre-market. So I just wanted to cover this all with you guys quickly. I hope you did enjoy it, and I hope you guys understand why I think today was one of the more important days that we have seen in a while. Anyway, that is it for now though. I'll see you all later on with more, but for now, as usual, it's a goodbye.